why I haven't been posting is because I've been really, really hard at work. At the end of September, I was coming up on my 1 year anniversary of working on my project, which is not a fun anniversary to get to for what was supposed to be a 1 month project when I started. And so I thought, well, I don't want to hit October of 2011 and not have finished the October challenge from 2010. So I put a few pre-order links up on my website, and within hours of me posting it on my mailing list, mentioning it on Twitter, putting it on my blog, on my Facebook page for the game, I had my first pre-order, and that was an exciting moment for me. Really big day, and there was dancing with cats. It was pretty awesome. And since then, I had a number of other pre-orders. Most of it happened within like that day or that weekend, but I did it before October 2011, so that feels good. And so there were two things that has been making me work hard. One is that I have a bunch of people who pre-ordered the game, and I kind of want to have something that they can play as soon as I can. So luckily the game's actually coming together to the point where I'm feeling comfortable releasing a playable alpha. The other thing is the IGF deadline is the 17th, and as close as I am, unfortunately today's the last day I can submit because I will not be in town for the rest of the weekend, and the 17th I will not be back in time to do any kind of measurable work. So I'm going to probably miss this IGF deadline, which is too bad, but I still have the incentive to get the game playable because of all those people who have pre-ordered the game. And then once I do that, I'll move on from there to figure out how I can get from playable alpha to beta to finished product. Other news. Andy had posted a while back a video about time boxing, and I thought, I've heard of time boxing before, you've got nothing new there. But what I liked was his insight into it in terms of keeping track. Like normally when I hear about time boxing, it's a motivational thing to get you over the hump, over that momentum of not doing anything. So like the Now Habit is a book where they talk about how people procrastinate, and a good thing to do is tell yourself, I'm just going to work on something for half an hour, because anybody can do just half an hour of anything, right? And what happens usually at the end of that half hour is you're so into what you're doing that momentum just carries you and you can continue working. Worst case is, though, you just get a half hour of good quality work. And I've done this before, and there's a thing called the Pomodoro technique where you do a tomato, which is 25 minutes, and then you take a break and then you can do another 25 minutes. But it's the same idea, 25 minutes of solid work, and you can stop afterwards or you can continue or whatever. But what I like about Andy's idea is this idea of tracking how many you do, because I guess I never did that before. I usually just did it to try and get myself started, and then I can let momentum take over. Keeping track of it is a good idea, because if you don't measure it, you can't get better. And so I've been doing that for the last week. I've been tracking my 45-minute extended tomatoes, and so last week, Monday, I did 4. Tuesday I did only 3. That doesn't seem right. What number is that? I guess it is 3. And then Wednesday and Thursday I did 6 each, and so those were pretty productive days, and I felt pretty good about that. Friday I did 3, and Saturday I did 1. There was a lot of other things going on. I wasn't really working Saturday. This past Monday I did 4. Tuesday was a huge productive day for me. I really pushed for this. I did 8. Now 8 sounds like a lot, and if you think about it, 8 45-minute blocks means that it's not an 8-hour work day. It's really a 6-hour work day, and you have 2 hours where you didn't do anything because you're taking, presumably 15-minute breaks in between. But I pushed for 8, and it's amazing. Like, it does take a lot of. I mean, I'll say this: 8 of those as, you know, only 6 hours, that's still 6 hours of real solid work, as opposed to what typical workers in a cube probably do. Studies have shown they probably only get 15 minutes of real work done a day. But what I found is there might be a limit. Like, I know Andy talks about how if you can do 2 or 3 hours with these extended tomatoes, essentially, that's really good, and then you have the rest of the day and you've been real productive. And but I did 8 because I really wanted to try and work a solid day as much as I could. And the limit might be that maybe that's too much, because I mean, I don't know if I'll try it again. I guess it just depends on if I can get to 8 again, but yesterday I did 1. So Tuesday I did 8, yesterday I only did 1, and yesterday was horrible. I don't know if I was burnt out, or if there was just suddenly a bunch of different things that I felt like I didn't know what a priority was, and I needed to kind of sit back and replan or what, but yesterday was horrible for productivity. And today, after this video, after I finish drinking my orange juice, I'm going to go and get ready and start working again and try and get that alpha build ready. And then what else? Oh yeah, a definition of an indie. So I'll read this. So many other factors come into play, and so, to arrive at a more practical definition, we are left with something simpler. Developers who are free to create whatever they want. Whether they choose to make a market-driven game or one that is personally satisfying, the important part is that they have the freedom to make that choice. And so that was written April 9th, 2005 by Dan McDonald. It's for an article called The Independent View for Game Tunnel. If you remember that site, it's back. GameTunnel.com. I used to review games on there. But yeah, so Dan's kind of already covered this. I guess he also mentions Derek Yu from TigSource talking about independence should be about creating something personally satisfying. So the interesting thing about that is personally satisfying is I guess pure indie. Like, you don't care whether your customers are buying what you do. It's whatever you're doing for yourself. But there is a question of, like, what if what you want for yourself is what everyone else wants? So that's allowing influence, but isn't that still your choice? Isn't that still indie? Your turn.